You're watching HuffPost Live. I'm Nancy Redd, and he's been the prince of many a tween and teen's heart as he made his name acting in kids' TV shows like Victorious and Twisted. But now Avan Jogia is being crowned king of cable, literally, as he takes on an amazing leading role as ancient Egypt's legendary pharaoh in Tut, Spike's first ever scripted drama series that premieres this Sunday at 9 p.m. Avan joins us now to discuss. Hello, how are you?
Hello. How are you?
Should I bow down? Should I
No,
gin
please.
you flesh?
You're sitting. It's fine.
Oh, well, yeah, I can always.
Yeah, it's one of those. It's funny. Yeah.
I know. Well, how much did you know about this dude before you began playing the Pharaoh?
I did my due diligence as far as researching, kind of the political climate of the time and the religious structure, and then eventually, I kind of just happened upon trying to what is the will of this person? What is the core of this human being? What is it like to lead? And that's the stuff that assisted me better than necessarily there's nothing to draw. It's there's not videos and stuff. We don't know how he talked or what he did. So it was helpful for me to kind of pull from history, the way that kings have been treated.
Well, it's not exactly like we can go back and look at his Snapchat.
No, exactly. What was King Tut's Snapchats about?
But regardless, it's fun to take license with a story that we don't necessarily know. So how does this series put a new twist on things?
I think also the thing is it's a dramatic retelling at the end of the day. You know what I mean? We want to make the world feel as authentic as possible. But we don't know. So much of Tutankhamun was wiped away that we actually don't know the series of events that led up to his death. So our imagination is to fill in the blanks, and we fill in the blanks, and I think in a really compelling and dramatic way. And I think that's what makes the show, kind of has the thrust of the show, and it ends up being the tale about this boy who becomes king and has to take ownership of that and what that means. And it's pretty interesting. I think we execute it in a way that is compelling and modern even.
And here's the thing, you execute in a way that's compelling, modern, but you're still wearing some pretty heavy robes, and you shot in Morocco.
Shot in Morocco, yeah, and I think that's the key, is to make it as authentic as possible and feel historically authentic, while still not really knowing the details of his life.
Right. Well, one of the details some of your fans wanted to know, we sent out a tweet, and somebody wants to know, how hot did it get under those robes?
The robes weren't as bad as the leather armor that they had us strapped in. It's really tight and really hot, and you can't take it off. Once you put it on, you can't take it off for the whole day. It's just tied into you, and it's 110 degrees out, and it's just so hot, and you can't even move, and you're fighting people, and you're riding chariots and jumping off the chariots, and it's just it was an incredibly taxing and tiring thing, but it was also really, it was lovely. It was I've never done anything like that before. So
absolutely, and you gave it your all. I mean, you actually very much like Tut put yourself in these shoes of someone who. It's not necessarily meant to be a warrior, but you gave it your best, and you did your own stunt.
And I think that's one of the I did everything except for one jump, and I think that's to me the core of what he's not a great warrior. He was a king. He was a figurehead, but in our story he does that, and so to me the important part about that is will. Someone's will to not die, to be remembered by time, to not fall, where others had fallen. So so that's where we kind of concentrate on that element.
In doing your stunts, did we ever almost lose Avan?
No, I cut my hand open a little bit, which is fine, and they stitched it up right there. We couldn't get to. There's no hospitals or anesthetic around because we're in the middle of nowhere. So she stitched me up, and I changed my sword hand, and we kept on shooting.
That's a little terrifying. Yeah. You're in the middle of the desert, it's 110 degrees, you're in this heavy armor, you're doing these stunts, no double.
No double. Well, we had a double, I just did everything, because at the end of the day, if you can get, the actor doing it, then do that, and I was game. So, and the stunts were fun, and I had so much fun riding the chariots and shooting the bow and arrow, and it was lots of fun.
Well, it's super fun, and people cannot wait to see it. They also are noticing there's a change with you being the boy king, which is your facial appearance, that of your hair. Michelle wants to know, you usually get hairy between roles, giving you a thumbs up. Any
thumbs up hair?
Particular reason for a mustache right now?
Secret gig. No, I was just growing like a little little thing, and I just it's just gotten too insane. I don't know. I'm gonna maybe shave it all off, but I just let my thing is you can cut off hair, you can shave, but you can't like grow a beard in 2 seconds. So I'd rather just be like all grown out. And so if the role requires me to be clean shaven, I can do that. If the role requires me to have like a beard or something like that, I'm already there. So.
Would you ever cut off your classic ponytail?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. If the role, I mean, for me, I'm just always looking for an excuse to. The thing I like about acting is this kind of like transformative element where you just become the person. And obviously I get to do that in Tut, and I've done that in other projects. And part of that is physical transformation. So that really interests me, you know. And I would totally do that. If they were like, yeah, you got to shave your head, I'd do it in a second.
All right, so you not only are a fantastic actor yourself, you were surrounded by wonderful individuals in this film, in particular Sir Ben Kingsley. Was this the first time you worked together?
Yeah, it's the first time we ever worked together, and I obviously a huge admirer of his work and what he's accomplished as an actor, as a as an artist. He's like he's a legend, you know. And I got to work with him, and that was really cool. And he was very generous and gave me great advice, and we were able to find a cadence with our performances where we could hit the ball back energetically, and that was really really helpful for me.
What was some of the advice he gave you?
He doesn't really, I don't think, he was very keen to not give actual like you should do this, like obviously but just by example. I mean, like it's 3 o'clock in the morning. He's been doing this for decades, and he's just as keen and interested as the day he started, and he doesn't drop a line. He's just dialed in, and it's that kind of dedication and that kind of work ethic that I really kind of admired, and I learned a lot from.
The camaraderie, right? I mean, of course, shooting is amazing when you're on a film shoot.
Yeah, and the location, it's like a little tiny ship, isn't it?
Yes, it's a little tiny ship, but it's a ship that can sometimes stay up all night, like you said, 3 a.m. Yeah. Did you build a friendship or a camaraderie with your castmates? Did you have a lot of fun? Any antics on or off the set?
We were all staying in the same hotel, so there's that kind of subterranean or like a submersible feeling when you're doing a film set where you're like, we're all in the submarine together and we have a task, we got to get this job done, and it makes for intense friendships, and we had a great time, man. Like in Morocco, the hotel and just sitting around the pool. I mean, I didn't do a lot of sitting around the pool because I was doing a lot of shooting, but when we did and we shot, it was nice, and just shoot the shit and hang out.
How do the relationships differ in a project like this than when you were on Victorious or projects geared towards a younger audience?
I don't think the vibe changes. I think everyone's just trying to have fun and make it the most. When it's serious, when it's work time, and that doesn't go away. But when we're all still like we're all kids. That's the whole thing about all actors. They're all like we're all kids. So. We have a lot of fun and joke around. And
what do you mean?
All actors are kids, man. Like that to me. I think that's the most important thing that you can be as an actor. Is just like be almost willing to play and be kind of free the way kids are. I think that's why I say that kind of actors are like kids.
So do you think Sir Ben Kingsley is just like a big old kid?
Yeah. Well, he plays pretend for a living. I mean, we all. I mean, the betting. It doesn't matter how deep we go into the character psyche and stuff. We're playing pretend with like a budget and like people who have made all these wardrobes, and we're just like dressing up and playing pretend, and it's amazing. It's you put on these costumes and you go out there and you just play imagination.
So what makes an actor then? Because I could put on a costume and play pretend, but no one would believe me. I'm a terrible actress.
I don't know.
What do you think is the je ne sais quoi of someone who actually can perfect the art?
I think that to me the key is you play so hard that you believe yourself. Like you know what I mean? Like you get so into it. Like it depends on how taken away you can get with yourself. Like I can. How entrenched in the imagination you can get. And I think that's the only muscle you really need to work as an actor, is just to constantly be exploring imagination. And so when you have the wardrobe on and you have the costume on and you're playing the scene, you're really in it. Like this is life or death. These conversations are central to your character's, livelihood because they're essential to your livelihood because you're in it, you know. And I know that feeling of being in it and not thinking about anything other than being the character. I'm not even thinking about being a character because I at that point am doing it. So it's a weird like fusion, and then it's cut, and then you're like, okay, then they have to go back in actor mode and like adjust things and stuff. But for those 3 minutes, you're not yourself.
When did you realize you had this gift?
I don't know if I don't know if I ever. I've always wanted to be an actor. I've always wanted to be an actor, and I think that I was, as a kid, you're told you can be whatever you want, and that's not really true. You can be one thing, really. If you're gonna like commit your whole life to something, you can be one thing. And the great thing about being an actor is if you commit your whole life to being an actor, you also get to be a fireman, you get to be a doctor, you get to be an astronaut, you get to be a playwright, you get to be, the list goes on, criminal, bad guy. So stuff that you don't get to do in real life, and that's, I think, what's attracted me to it.
Well, to that point, you get to be many things. Right now, you are Tut. We have a question from a big fan. Avan Jogia wants to know, are there any other historical figures you'd like to portray?
I don't know. Yeah, absolutely. Khalil Gibran, he's a poet who wrote The Prophet, which is he's an amazing writer and an incredible soul, and I would love to play him. I don't know. I think you just keep on. I mean, I always, you know, it's something that actors do when they go, like, they see a person or they read up about a character and they go, wow, I'd love to do that. And I think I always do that. That's like such a, it's such an actor thing to do, but it is an actor thing to do, to read all these, you know, stories and be like, I would love to be able to play that person. But yeah, Khalil Gibran is what I would choose.
All right, we have another question right here. Obviously, Morocco's probably pretty high up on the list, but I'm sure you have been to other things. Right now, Flavia wants to know, what is your favorite place in the world?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I mean, I love Southern Europe. Was it like Nice, Spain? In France, Nice, but like Spain and like all the lower parts by the Mediterranean. I love that whole area. I think it's beautiful and breathtaking. Yeah, but I love traveling. I've got a lot of places yet to go. You know, I went to Southeast Asia last year, which I loved. I went to Singapore and a number of other other places. So yeah, I love traveling.
Are you doing your traveling alone, or is there a special someone?
Well, me and my girlfriend are going to Italy after this. Basically, we're leaving today, and so. So we travel as much as we can when we can. But also we're both working, so we're doing a lot of traveling for work anyway. So when we do decide to go to somewhere together, it's like that's a big deal because we usually like, oh, I have to go through this for work, and so tag along kind of thing.
And occasionally, like, did she join you at all on the set?
A little bit. She was there for 2 weeks. Yeah, it was amazing. Yeah, we really had a good time, and I only had a couple days off, but we went to Essaouira, which is a little town in northern Morocco on the northern coast, right by Spain, and it was lovely there. Yeah, I love traveling. There's something. It's good. Like you feel like you have a better understanding of like the world that we all live in together when you travel.
Well, you don't have much time for free travel because you are working all the time. You recently just completed your first short, right?
Yes, I directed a short film that I wrote. Here in New York, I shot it. Yeah, and it was, it's an amazing experience to be able to kind of go behind the camera and create something that's in your head and try to figure out the best way to tell that story. And I think that's, I was the cinematographer for Todd. Did it for me. So he DP'd, he did the photography for me. So I was very lucky, and and my friend Landon Liberon is in it, and Eric Nelson is in it, and I'm editing it. It's my first time doing this kind of thing, so it's a process, but I'm excited.
Well, you do not let you not having done it before stop you, because you do so many different things. I think it's impressive. One of the things I love about you and your career, you use your huge following to do some really good. I love the campaign you started, Straight But Not Narrow.
Right. Yeah.
What was the impetus behind that? What made you decide to get together with some of your friends in the industry and launch this?
To me, well, obviously we were much further back in time when we started. This is like probably 5-6 years ago now, and we were, there was no one speaking to the straight community about dealing with apathy. And the biggest problem with any kind of oppressed people, doesn't matter what, if it's sexual orientation or race or class or whatever it is the people who disagree with the oppression but say nothing. So if your friend is, if your gay friend is being bullied and in school, in the classroom, and you're saying nothing, but you disagree with the bullying, you don't want him to do that, and you say nothing, you're kind of, your silence is worse than their violence in a way. It's like the way that you not speaking up and standing up for your friends is equally as negative, if not more negative, because you're complicit. You're allowing this thing to occur. So that's what the target audience was. No one was really, to my knowledge at the time, and still even now, no one was really trying to speak to straight people to get like, okay, get your shit right about this, because you don't want to be on the wrong side of history, and you don't want to be, if you disagree with something, stand up for it, because the change is coming, and we've had a huge amounts of change, in that capacity over the last
I know you want to play
year.
the guy that wrote the prophet, but in some ways you kind of were a prophet regarding this. Do you think that it was actions like this between you and fellow celebrity straight men that led to gay marriage?
No, absolutely. I think that there's gay civil rights leaders who have been working like in insane amounts of way. We were just, our whole idea was an assistance to a larger piece, and I think that there's gay rights activists and gay celebrities who did way above what what we were capable of doing. But I think every little bit helps, and I think that I was what my concept was at the beginning of this was just to target a group of people that I didn't think we were talking about that needed to step up to the plate,
And you did. It takes a village. I think that it takes a village, and you did your part.
Yeah. Well, it's a community. We all live in the same community together, and if a group of people are slow out the gate on a subject, which has happened before in many other different civil rights movements throughout history. If you're slow to the gate, we need to get those people going. And if you disagree, with the way a group of people is being treated, you better stand up for that and put yourself on the line for it, because because then you're on the wrong side of history, and then you're complicit and apathetic, and then what's the point of even participating in a democracy with everyone else?
Well, you're not just doing that. That's in your past. Your current present is Tut. What's your future?
I don't know. I'm just gonna try to do as much good work as I can, and try to tell stories, whether that's acting or writing my own stories and directing my own stories, and telling stories in every way I can, in different mediums too. I like writing, I like painting, so anytime I get an opportunity to tell a story, I want to do that, and that's what really is motivates me going forward. And and you're not the arbiter of that. I wish I could say I have any kind of influence on my future, and you just don't. You just gotta be ready to do the next step, and kind of
Well, if there's
forward.
anyone that's ready, it's you. Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
joining
Cheers.
us.
Thank you very much.
All right, don't forget, you can catch him in Tut. It premieres this Sunday on Spike at 9/8 Central. You don't want to miss it. He's fantastic. And you don't want to miss what's coming up next, because the conversation always continues here at HuffPost Live.